Here's the gist of the video. We wanted to take a steering wheel from this and put it into this. And we did. We were successful. We have very few complaints about the car. But one of the complaints that we have is that, so right now this vehicle has 90,000 miles, give or take. And since maybe 70s or something like that, there has always been an issue with, I made a video, I can't remember if I published it honestly, but I know I've made this comment in the past that the newer models of Infiniti M's became better and better with regards to features, right? This car has so many tricks and it's powerful, but then it seemed like the quality of material just seemed to go down. So for one, I'm glad that the Infiniti M eventually got a heated steering wheel in the States, but then something about the quality of the steering wheels, right? This is a sports steering wheel, and this peel over here, this is just 90,000 of gentle use. And if anything, I don't think I hold up here, honestly. Maybe I do, but I feel like I hold other places, but still, it's wearing. So what options do you have? I think you could buy a newer Infiniti M or Q70 steering wheel, but if it looks exactly like this, I feel like you're gonna be back in the same place within a few years. I'm not certain though. I do have others, and I'll go check with the other Infiniti M56s that I have to see what the steering wheels look like. But this experiment is not over, obviously. This is number 2. This is a 2012 M56 aero package, sport and all that. And as much as it's not damaged yet, I can see signs of things happening, right? So here's number 2. 2 out of 2 have some sort of defective steering wheel. And then here's number 3. Number 3, yeah. Just, oh man, look at the top. But, I mean, in all honesty, and to be fair, this vehicle right here has almost 280,000 miles, so kind of expect something to happen. So obviously they wear a little thin. I think it's more of a handling wear, that's why it's right on top. Otherwise I would have said it's just the sun beating on them, but maybe it's a combination of factors, right? Look at this. So I'm thinking it's more of a combination of wear, mostly wear, and a little bit of the sun hitting it. So what can we do about this though? So here's what we are going to do about this situation. Got a steering wheel from an Infiniti QX60, and I'm going to try it on. Just want to see if this will work on here in place of that. So should turn off your car, disconnect your battery, and do all that good jazz. But before all that, first I want to make sure that everything is functional in this steering wheel. Turned on, second position, AC blowing and all that. It's tripping, it doesn't know where we are. Highway 59. It's connected with a key, great. Alright, so this is what I'm gonna do. Turn this off first. Second thing is my radio. I'll turn on my radio. So go to the source key. Man, can you see anything? I can barely see myself. Source. There you go.
Orange jersey, it's a big important event. You don't do that.
Volume down. That works. It's got an enter. That's usually for info, for example. So push and hold enter key. Things happen, right? So this one works. Up, down. Everything's working. You have the back. So let's hit info. Then we can go back. This works. This is voice commands.
Would you like to access phone, navigation, voice recognition is canceled.
Okay, then this one is calling. So obviously everything seems to work, right? Don't undo that, just cancel it. Then obviously that works. I needed to go back from here. Okay, then this side here we have the DCA, right? Driving Control Assist, DAC, DCA, DAS, Driving Assistance System, whatever. It's a whole lot of alphabet soup in this car. So turn this one on, see if any lights come on. Huh. Nothing. This side's kind of dead, but you know, let's turn on cruise. Okay, I can't remember if it needs to be running for that to happen. I can't. Oh, there you go. It did turn on. No? Unfortunately, these ones right here can only be... Can't really test it without the car running or being in drive or something. So... Okay, it's in drive. Let's turn this one off. It's off, but doesn't really tell you anything. It's okay, as long as this side works, we should be able to, at least we know that everything is working right now. Oh, plus the heated steering wheel works definitely. It should. It's not lighting up, but say, given the season, see how sweaty my arm is already. I'm not really trying to try it. The wheel is plenty hot. So what I'm gonna do is turn this back off, and we'll get to the process of installing the QX60 steering wheel and hope that works. So off you go. Well, of course not. Okay, so it's all the way off. And actually, if I remember, I need to disconnect the battery while this thing is still running, so that the steering wheel does not lock on me. But so why are we even bothering with the QX60 steering wheel? One, I didn't buy it. Someone else bought it and sent it to me to try it out. And two, it looks better. I think the price was right when he bought it. The leather feels pretty good. Feels a little more supple than this. Oh, this feels like real pleather right here, but this feels a little more comfortable to hold. It's really thin, by the way, so I'm not a textile expert, so I can't tell you which one's real and which one's not. But as I said, this one's got a little more give to it, a little more rubber behind it. The diameter seems to be the same, just firmer yet smoother, if that's a thing. So I want to take this out and install it here and see if it works. Obviously, I bet it's going to turn the steering wheel. I don't think that's a problem. But one of the key things that we pointed out is, look at the buttons. See the number of buttons here? On this wheel over here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 3 up top, 3 at the bottom. This one here has 4 at the bottom. Volume, source, which the other source button was over here, and then, you know, most of the others are the same. Voice commands, phone, source button down here. The one big difference is this menu, right? This button right here. In the M56, this is where the button is, the menu button, right? You pick your menus as you go through the process. And before changing everything over, let's actually test it. So turn this on. Okay, so menu button, let's see if that changes. All right, the middle one here. So this is how you reset your trips, which I don't really need to do anything because it's already there, but you move from A to B. All right, you see that A, B, that's changing. So this one here changes the screen that you see in front of you. 161 miles, it says, huh? All right, so that's what that button over there does. So the QX60, apparently it's on the steering wheel, which is cool, in case you need to change something on the fly, which is what they claimed the purpose of these steering wheel controls were. So let's turn this off again. and then we'll get to test it all. Man, I'm baking in here for the sake of you guys. It's really hot outside and inside the car, and unfortunately it's mowing day, so everyone's running this stuff. And I was afraid that if I opened the door during recording, yeah, you wouldn't really hear much. So off he goes, and what I'm gonna do is go ahead and I've already kind of removed it, so I just want to disconnect the battery so I can do this part. Although I've done it with the battery connected, not a problem for me. Once I do that, I'll come back and remove the airbag, then remove the steering wheel. The airbag is usually, it takes two of these bolts. I've already removed one side, I can't remember if it's here or here, and takes two of these bolts. Torx, security Torx T30 is what this is. So once you get that, and of course you find a way to pry the covers on the sides right there, right? It's a hole, so just pry the covers, and this is what the covers look like. I'm gonna speed this through this process because this is not a video on steering wheel removal. I'll just go through it all and then just show you the results of my testing. This is what you're looking for up here. See how bad that looks? Yeah. I had to disconnect the battery because the horn was still working, and as much as this car's battery usually dies because the car's not drivable right now, I thought that as soon as I disconnected the jumper cables, the car would die. Obviously that was not the case today. So here's the first thing. Remove the airbag, which was those two T30 security Torx screws that I told you about. So a Torx, if I can find it, this is it, regular Torx. But then the security ones usually have a pin in the middle, at least the bolts, the heads there, right? If I can get it to focus, there you go. Have a pin in the middle. So in turn, these ones come with a hole to receive it. Okay, so that's enough for that. I've made a video in the past as to how you remove these plugs. Hope should have a screwdriver somewhere. Flathead screwdriver. Usually works better with a pocket knife. Well, since the last thing I want to do today is break these, I'm going to have to put the camera down and do it properly. Okay, something thin, yet strong. Okay, so safety purposes, make sure you close that, because it could fall or whatever could happen. The first test in the process is, will this airbag fit over the QX60 steering wheel? Yes, it fits perfectly. So yeah, that's good. Man, it does look pretty good. Steering wheel is it larger? No, pretty much the same. I guess at some point they went to the same template. So kind of like the stitching going on over here. All right, so cool. Airbag fits, so that's test one. So the next part will be removing this from in there, removing the steering wheel itself. There are some wires to be removed, but these are pretty easy. I can do that quite easily. Let me bring this closer. I was saying the next part of the process is to basically remove this because we've tested the airbag and it fits on the QX60 airbag steering wheel. While I'm doing this, so it's pretty easy to remove the airbag wiring. Just push it back. The clock spring is back there. Try to remember how the thing's clocked. Right here, right? This thing is almost at It's almost right at it. If I remember right, the splines don't really line up. It's either a little off or a little on. It's never dead on 12 o'clock. So just remember that. Disconnect all the wiring, you know, remove that. Remove this harness. There you go. This is for the steering wheel controls. This one goes back here, and then yeah, has a wire coming in from the bottom. So does this one here, by the way. Wire coming in from the bottom, joins up here, and then they both go into that plug. This plug looks similar. It looks very similar to this one here. So how many ports does this one have? 4, 8. And this one has 8. So I mean, that's pretty cool, but sometimes what happens is that the plugs plug into the same place, but then that could cause an explosion. So there'll be 2 parts of this experiment. One, will this steering wheel, exactly as it is, work over here? Or will it fit? It should work. Everything else is similar so far. Part 2 though is the steering wheel. The steering wheel controls, will they work for the car? So that when you buy one of these, you just buy it, install the airbag, and you're back in business. Versus this one here, where, you know, maybe not, might end up needing to remove the steering wheel controls. So one thing I wanted to point out, I know some QX60s come with heated steering wheels. Likewise, you know, the M's also come with heated steering wheels, and this one here has a heated steering wheel. This one does not, right? There's no wiring that goes anywhere. Here, how does the wiring go? So, you know, into the steering wheel, and I don't know how the heating element is set up. So, and I've ever stripped one of these things, man, the curiosity, the heights curiosity takes me to. I'm stripped it down to bare magnesium. It's meant to be pretty lightweight, right? Yet strong. Come think of it, I've not really seen a broken steering wheel. It's not like I wish for it, but pretty interesting, right? There you go. Ooh. Did you realize there's something else here? This one here. There's another plug in the steering angle sensor. I have no, in the clock spring, I have no idea what that would be for. Yeah, what else would be plugged here? Yeah, that's, come think of it. I'm curious. Maybe one of the Q70s, the cars with the all-around view camera, maybe somebody can take it apart and tell us. But I don't think I've ever seen a clock spring with an extra piece. You see the wire that comes through for the airbag, and then you see this other one that sends basically the controls the wiring from the steering wheel all the way in, but never seen it just hanging out there. And then, as I said, this one here is the heated steering wheel. So this is gonna remain there as well when I pull it up. So right here, it's usually a 19mm if I remember correctly. And usually you get a steering wheel puller, remove this, you get the puller there, and then you pull it up. But I believe I've shown in a different video that sometimes you could just make it work by using, if you just pulled it backwards. Today, since I'm still moving, I don't know where my puller is. I believe I eventually bought a puller and I own one. I just don't know where it is. So for now, I'm just gonna break this loose and try to pull it up, see how far that'll take me. Again, I've said it so many times I know I'll remember it, that this notch here, it's clocked a little bit over, a little before 12 o'clock on this one here, on this little pimple. So that's what I'm doing next. Longer 19. Oh, that didn't take much. The braking doesn't usually take much effort. It's the pulling the wheel that will have you thinking and cussing. there you go. Didn't take too much effort, right? Okay. Well, who needs a steering wheel puller? Okay, out it goes. Here's the steering wheel, and here's the other one. This is a sport wheel, so it's got the cutout for the paddle shifters. Man, crazy. What if you did it like a pilot? Oh, man, that's a cool idea. If you could get a steering wheel that's just right there, like a plain one. Okay, so comparisons. Let's do it real quick. Very, very similar, right? So first test, I'll do this is to test whether all the controls work exactly like they would in the other one. Oh, wait a minute. Before all that, see this button over here, this white one, usually goes up here to the 12 o'clock position. That's how you help keep the steering angle sensor centered. That's how he knows where it's supposed to go. Okay, QX60 wheel going on. Okay, camera for this. Okay, so remember that notch I was talking about earlier, and saying that it's either clocked just at 12:01 or at 11:59. Assuming this is 12 o'clock, right? So there's actually a notch in there in the steering wheel, in the wheel itself here. If you can, yeah, there you go. There's a notch right there. Man, how do you show this? There's a notch at 12 o'clock, and watch it just basically see it itself. So you, instead of looking at this top nipple, I'm looking at the notch inside there to get aligned. Boom. It is dramatic. It looks like it's way off. You'd think, well, why wouldn't you align it properly? Okay, so let's jump one spline over. Correct it by one spline. That's it. It jumps way over, right? So that's just the way things are. I don't know. I think it's goofy. They could have tried to spline them differently, but all the Nissans I've worked on, this is just how they end up looking at the end of the day. So I know that this one was here, so I'll do it just the same way. Okay. Then I don't want to fully tighten the bolt down, but I'll place it in case there's some grounding and shielding that this system provides, that the physical system provides. Okay, so tighten that down. Connect anything that could be connected. This is risky. I'm risking my car. I know that, but I'm gonna connect this one here because, as I said, the 8 plug, both of them. I've done a little bit of homework. I could not find the full wiring diagram anywhere, but I know for sure that the ground is at the same spot. See this one here? This is how you ground to the frame. It's at the third from the bottom. Then here, twist it the other way. The green one is a third from the bottom. Well, you can't see it because of the lighting, but just take my word for it that I've done a little bit of homework. So what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and install that. Clickety. Clicks in. Can't do anything for the heated steering wheel, so I'll just let that dangle. But obviously that's something worth thinking about. If you do this, pull the heated steering wheel fuse or something, but gotta find a way to prevent well, no, it's open, it won't work. Let's see. Okay, what's next? The airbag. How could I lose such a big airbag? No, I did not lose it. Here it is. Connect the airbag. Just for the sake of circuit completion, I don't really expect the airbag to do anything at this point, really. But Well, I guess let me set this down. Okay, so that part's done. Next thing is reconnect the battery. And test it all out. Hope I still have some juice. Yep, sparked. I hear things running in there. Good enough. Okay, now what's left is let's turn this on. Well, the honka works. Oh, see, recognized. It's really dim though. Okay, so
I thought, with Michael Bennett, I thought that Michael Bennett's done some goofy stuff.
Volume.
Martellus Bennett has done some goofy stuff, but that doesn't mean they're always...
Volume works. Volume up works.
I had to...
Dead battery. So yeah, we need to juice it up and then try this again. I did stretch my luck. Okay, take two. Let's move the tripod out. Shut the door. Toast myself in here, but that's okay. Do this because I love you guys. So let's start the car again. Key right on there. Step 2. So volume down.
He goes out and he gets arrested trying to run away from cops.
Volume up.
They just learned his lesson, haven't they? We all messed up.
Okay, so there's that. Let's turn the radio off. It's an AM. Off. And then the source button is how I turned it on with the other steering wheel, but you'll remember the source button is this one at the top. Right here. Convenient, huh? So let's turn the source button. Sure enough, turns on the radio. We've seen that the volume works. Then there's voice controls.
Would you like to access phone, navigation, information? Voice recognition is canceled.
That's the back key, which is in the same place in the other steering wheel. Then this one here is phone, so calling. So let's push that. Connecting a phone, please wait. But we know that doesn't really matter, I guess, for us. So we'll go back, we'll exit out of that. We did. The middle button, which is enter, could be used as the center button here, or rather as an info status. It basically brings all these menus together. So hold the enter button down, and then destination, route, info, settings, all that stuff shows up. And you could pick something up, down, up. So that works. Pretty happy about that part. So here's the biggest one. Will this button here work? You saw what this one here does when you push it on the car, right? This menu button. Right? So what happens if you push it on the steering wheel? Nothing. The car has no idea what to do with it. So there's that. So I guess I could say quite confidently that the steering wheel, if you got a steering wheel from a QX60 and installed it into an Infiniti M, it could work just as is. If you're the kind of guy that likes to see a lot of buttons, just leave this one here, keep moving on with life. However, the other part of it is, what do you do to actually have the actual buttons? You know, and I guess this would jump into another type of video where, how do you replace these buttons? If only these are damaged, what do you do to replace them? You could, let's see, this one, because of the packages being similar, this one here has the same number of buttons, cancel, and I'm sorry if the lighting isn't working very well for it, cancel, up, down, accelerator, resume, coast or set the speed. This is the distance from the guy in front, set that. Then cruise on off button right here. Then this one here is the, you know, the nanny of systems. What do you usually call that? I keep, you know, fumbling with it. Driver assistance, yeah, DAS, driver assistance system. There you go. Settings. Yeah, it's called, or dynamic assistance. That's why I was like, DAS. I thought it was dynamic, not just driver. But anyway, you have the DAS button right here, which, as I've shown, won't really show you anything right now. But, and this one is set up the exact same way. So you can make this one work. But what if you wanted to replace these? One thing I'll tell you for sure is that whatever it is you have in your M56, you want to keep both of them, because if I remember correctly, they're tied at the bottom. This wiring comes from here and then goes into a sub harness at the bottom there. But let's do this. Let's switch up the game. And this is the end of the video, because the video was to answer the question, will a QX60 steering wheel work in an Infiniti M? And yes, it works. You just have a dummy button over there. But then the other part is, how do you switch these buttons if you got a steering wheel from the car, from a QX60 with packages that yours don't have? For example, it's got more packages than yours. At that point, doesn't matter, just install it, it's gonna run. What if you got one from a less equivalently equipped QX60? So you have all these packages in your M, but the QX60 does not have them. So you want to remove these pads, these whatever steering wheel control pads, and install them onto the QX60 wheel. What do you do? So that's going to bring us to the next video. So I was going to go away, but here's the conclusion of your video, which I guess could be the introduction as well. A QX60 wheel with its buttons will work in your Infiniti M. However, there's some conditions to be met. So that's all I'll say about it, one of which I've shown is the heated steering wheel. The other one is the packages. And the caveat is this: I've not had a chance to test these over here, but from my thinking, I really don't see why they would not work. They're the same, and we've seen that the arrangement for most of these harnesses is the same. So my thinking is that it will work. However, if you want to go a step further and remove the steering wheel controls, then there's another video that's going to help you with that.